Hello everybody. In this video I want to talk about a specific topic regarding VR controls. I mean controlling your character in or manipulating anything in the environment using your controllers in virtual reality. Now I'm actually, just to demonstrate things, I'm playing the game Battle Talent, and this is a VR game where you can actually use VR weapons and other type of abilities to kind of be creative with your combat. And actually the premise was very, very good. And it's actually start like many other VR games. You can see that it start with tutorial, because some of the mechanics in games are not obvious. It's not like when you play with the keyboard or with the mouse, you said left button or you press the A key, SD, SDW, for example. Things are very common, and in many games, you don't even need to teach players what to do. They're already familiar with the basic mechanics. In some games, especially specific genres where the controls are kind of similar, players will know what to do. Uh, so it's not complicated. But in VR, especially for new players, that can be complicated, and it's some of the things you need to explain to players how to use. Now, this is one example where you can read the text, and there's also kind of an illustration that shows players how to do things. So in this game, for example, I wanted to see how we can actually, they wanted to demonstrate I could actually get a sword. I just pointed it and pressed the grip button, and I can actually get it to my hand. It actually was really fun, and once you discover it, it's like second nature, but again, you need to understand what to do. I mean, how to do it. So there are different ways to do this, using text, using illustrations. You can use even videos. You can even show the controllers, which is, by the way, one of the things that are very intuitive, just seeing which buttons, because when you put the headset on, you don't always remember what is A, what is X, just showing the player, because I can't see the controllers in my hand once I'm in VR. So actually showing the controllers and highlighting the buttons that I need to press is actually a very good thing. And when you combine those, you can be easier to players to understand what to do. Now, the general thing is try to make things as simple as possible for players, but sometimes developers want to create more creative ideas in VR, and some combination of different mechanics is required to make the most of it. Like this game, for example. The different mechanics, and the problem with this one, that it wasn't that clear. I mean, some of the mechanics were actually clear, like this one getting the sword, but the other ones were actually unlock different abilities and weapons. I didn't really understand what to do. It explains in English, but it's not clear at all. And actually, I was so frustrated that I just decided to just join the Discord and ask them how to use it. This is one example for why I didn't understand properly what to do. Maybe my English is just because my English is not perfect. I didn't understand properly. But again, just showing some kind of a video demonstration or something with a controller and animating the controller would be easier for me to understand. But you need to understand there are many players who will actually find things like this like a problem. They won't understand actually how to use it. And when you get frustrated, what you do, you just continue to the next game. So it's very important to try your best to illustrate things, even for those who don't know how to read English. Try to demonstrate it visually so it will be easier for them to know what to do. So I'm just trying to see what to do here. Actually, the solution was just to swing the weapon fast, which extends the blade, and this is kind of known as a skill. So I don't need to hit those vases using the physical part of the sword, by just swinging it fast, and it's actually extended, and then I can actually hit those vases. Now you need to understand, people just want to get into a game and play, and those games that are very easy and intuitive, they'll be just more popular. Players will just get into the game fast, they will understand what to do, and if the game, of course, will design well and fun to play, people will enjoy playing it and will come back to play some more. So when you're designing a game in VR, it's very important to just try to minimize the amount of controls that the player has, because this can lead to complication. It leads to a higher learning curve, which in this time you're actually going to lose many players. It can be very frustrating. So if you implement it correctly, great. but if you're not implementing it correctly, you probably need to go to the drawing board and try to see if you're not explaining it right, or maybe you should design your game in a different way and maybe drop some of the more complicated mechanics and replace them with, or not replace them, even just drop them and try to make things work more simply for users. Again, in VR, it's happening in many games where you have long tutorials that need to explain the mechanics, and the reason is because there isn't a way around it if you have more complex controls. Now trust me, the last thing I want to do is read all these text and article just to understand how things work. And this is not fun. I'm going and start reading like pages over pages. It's like a documentation how to play the game. It's annoying, and for me, as a YouTuber, okay, I can spend time, want to demonstrate things, explain things. I want to play to get to the gameplay, yeah. But many players who don't do this will actually might decide, come on, I don't want to spend time reading this. I'm just gonna stop and move on. This can be very frustrating for them. And trust me, you can replace text with something visual that talks to anybody, and people can understand them even faster. All right. For example, if I want to show somebody how to actually do things like this, like for example blocking here, I can just show it like something with a ghosting with the controller, probably in slow motion, so we can demonstrate this, and just show actually what buttons are actually pressed and show the motion, kind of like a ghosting, like another player demonstrating how to use it in slow motion with the highlighted buttons, so we can see how it plays, rather than just trying to read this and trying to understand how to do this and being frustrated because something for some reason just doesn't work. And then maybe I add a little icon with information if I want to press it and just get more information, textual information that further explain about it. But other than this, and just imagine if you need to translate this for the text for different languages, right? So just show something visual. I mean, if I'm coming from a person that doesn't speak English and still want to play the game because the game looks cool, I probably wouldn't understand what to do at all, unless the game is translated to several languages or to the language that I'm actually speaking or know how to read. Yeah, so again, this is a problem. It's not the first time I'm actually tackling this, and I see that many developers, especially those early access games, are having troubles to implement this correctly. Now, if you look at the many popular games, VR games, you can see that their mechanics are very simple. Because again, it's very easy for players to know what to do. The tutorial will take maybe 30 seconds to just understand what to complete, and that's it. Players go into the game and can start playing. Take a Beat Saber, for example, right? You don't need to do anything specific, just moving your hands, and that's it. Everything else is automatically. You just need to aim properly to hit the boxes, right? And that's it. You don't have any complex mechanics. Of course, Beat Saber is Beat Saber, and games like this, where the developer wanted to create really something creative with the fighting mechanic, this requires, of course, more different type of motions, what the motion is doing, and what buttons you should press. Maybe you combine this. It's not sounding complicated because even if you consider how many options can be out there, right? Shouldn't be too many of them, but still, it can lead to frustration because it's not really clear how to do things properly because you're doing things in the 3D space. So if I need, for example, to stab a character and move the weapon up, or maybe do this with a combination with another button, again, even if you explain to me, I still need to practice it. So if I don't even understand it, there's no way I can actually understand this. So this game, this game does things partially well, but not well enough for me to understand what to do when I start playing the game. This is another game that I tried today called AimXR, and actually the tutorial in this one was actually designed well because it combined also video, text, and visuals of the controllers, so you can see what to press, right? Nice contrast of the letters, so it actually was it designed well, so it was very easy for me to understand what to do when I get into the game. So the thing is that in VR, as you can see here, you're not going to press escape or any key. You see, like you don't have a keyboard in VR. So basically everything, even the simplest thing like the menu, There's no kind of something that is, every game gonna have the same thing. So every developer does something else. So even opening the menu or changing for the menu to for the choosing a weapon, this is something that needs to be explained. This is how with VR, every game that is something similar to this, you're gonna have a tutorial because otherwise you wouldn't know what to do. Now, because in VR, for example, it's not like pressing R that you're gonna have reload in many first-person shooters. Even if it don't explain to you, probably this will be the key. Here we need to understand because we actually make operating the weapon manually. Some, of course, won't have this. It depends, of course, of the type of game. But it's something that needs to be explained. And of course, it adds more complications. But some players like actually that you can manipulate the weapon and operate it in a manual way because it feels just still more realistic and enhance the immersion of the game in general, rather than just having a gun that shoots all the time and you don't need to do anything. However, in these type of games, try to maintain the more realistic approach to the controls. Right? Try to make it, for example, when reloading, of course, it's very easy because the developer made so you reach your left hand to your body, grab the magazine, and you hold it with your grip button, grip to hold, and then you move it to attach the magazine to the weapon, to insert it to the weapon, and you can continue playing and shoot some more. So it's very intuitive, and the approach, of course, the best approach is trying to stay, if possible, to the more realistic handling of whatever interaction you're doing, the same as the real world. Now you see here everything needs to be explained, how to rotate or how to move, how to sprint, how to jump, everything. If you go to a new game, these things might be even different, so they need to be explained. And although it's for first-person shooter on a regular non-VR game, it's very self-explanatory because most of them will probably use WASD, right? And shift for sprinting or space to jump. Even if you haven't read anything, you know probably what to do straight away. In VR, it's different. You need to know, and there are more options, of course, because again, it's virtual reality. There's no UI elements, as you can see, during the game that are stuck on the screen that explain what to do. You just need to kind of remember them when you get into the game and start using them. And sometimes you even forget, so it's kind of frustrating sometimes when you need to you forget a few keys and you need to remember again what to do. But again, that's the nature of this. You don't have any UI elements here to do anything, right? It's just some of the UI, of course, just for example, kill feed in this example is kind of floaty. Again, the idea is not to have static UI elements on the screen. Everything should be clear. So my recommendation for developers, again, is try to make things as simple as possible. And if you are creating more complex interactions, try to explain them in a very simple and short tutorial. Even the words, try to minimize it to the least needed. And also make sure you have either video, also combine things like video and controller view, which is very useful. I'm telling you this right now. This is very useful because sometimes even if you say the letters, some people just need to maybe move the headset, take a look. Oh, this is A, this is X. Might not remember this. Just show them the controller, and if there's a motion, show the motion with the controller. This will be much easier for people to understand, especially if your app isn't translated into other languages from the original language that you actually developed the app for. So this is it. The reason I'm sharing this because I'm trying so many games, and some of them are so frustrating in this aspect of actually explaining how things work. As you can see here, you see a video, a text, some text is highlighted. You even have the controllers. This is a well done tutorial. Although personally I think that it would be easier without the distraction of these things around you, just putting something very simple as environment, so the focus is beyond the text and the controller, not on everything around us. So I think it would be better in general. But overall, it is well designed, and that's why I was able to actually get into the game and actually enjoy it very straight away, and it was fun. So again, I'm saying this because I'm frustrated because I'm trying so many games that just let me either leave the game or just write to the developer or go to Discord asking, well, how will I play this exactly? And if I'm asking this question, I'm just, I think that many other players are actually either dropping the game, being frustrated, or probably many of them won't even contact developers, right? Again, many of these games are in early access, understandable. But again, if you want people to even start playing the game and provide feedback, well, this is for a game to play the game, this is the least you can do to make people start playing and enjoying your game and provide feedback. So this is it for this video. More coming, and if you have any suggestions for this, let me know in the comments below. What do you think, how developers can improve this type of making players understand how to use the mechanics of the game when they start playing the game. If you have experience in many virtual reality games, do this in the comment section below. I want to hear what you think. I see you soon on the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers. Bye bye.